Good evening, Australia. Welcome to the show. I'm Michael Gazzilni, and it's Tough Times Never Last. A brand new season. Had some beautiful people on the couch, all very authentic. None of the people who sit on this couch wear those social masks. You know, we have people on the couch who are authentic, who are very real and raw and humble, and that's what I love. All the people who contact us. The lovely Helen Mitas is on the couch tonight. I was going to say she's a hydrotherapist, but she's a hypnotherapist, which I know nothing about because I'm too scared to go to any of those medical professionals because they might analyse me a bit too much. But Helen, thank you, darling, for coming on. Oh no, I won't say that. You don't like that.
No,
Helen,
that's okay.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Fine. Thank you for having me.
Therapist.
Yes, that's right.
Tell us what you do. 18 years ago,
yes.
You went through your own personal demons.
Yep.
Yeah?
That's right. So about 18 years ago, I fell into depression. I feel like I fell into it because up to that point, everything was going really smoothly for me. I was the kind of person that saw everything in a black and white sort of way, where I had, I went really well during secondary school. I got into university, into the course that I wanted to do. I then decided what kind of person I wanted to marry. I found that person. I wanted to have a child. I had that child. I was doing really well in the corporate world, and then all of a sudden everything came crashing down. So everything changed for me, and so my black and white perception of the world just went completely crashing to the ground.
How old were you then, Helen?
I was in my late 20s, so around 28. Is when I realised that everything was not black and white and there was a lot of grey in the middle. So what actually happened was that I had decided that I wasn't happy in the marriage that I was in, and I felt like I couldn't actually leave that marriage though, because I had already had a little boy. I was the youngest of 5, and so my older siblings were pretty much like parents to me. My husband was very well liked, and he was a great dad and a great husband as well.
There was no domestic violence?
No domestic violence whatsoever.
No.
And that's what, my mum said, what's your problem? He doesn't gamble, he doesn't drink, he doesn't hit you. What's your problem? And so they all tried to convince me that I should just stay where I was, and so I felt very stuck. I felt like I couldn't move.
You felt lonely in your own home?
Yeah, that's right. And one day, and this was going on for some time, where I just felt stuck. I felt like there was no way out for me, that I just had to stay there. I saw an ad in the paper, because in those days there was no Google, and it said, are you feeling helpless, hopeless? Are you feeling as if everybody else is running your life except you? And I thought, oh my God, somebody understands me, somebody gets me. And so I responded to that ad, and it was a magnificent place. It was the Ken Miller Institute, and it was a course run by a clinical psychologist, Don Treacher, who to this day, I credit him for changing my path and changing my life. And what I didn't know at the time was that he was actually a hypnotherapist. Now, at the time in the 90s in Victoria, you weren't permitted to say that. It was against the law. It was illegal to say you were a hypnotherapist. You could only say you were doing relaxation therapy. So what would happen is that we would go on these retreats, these 2-day retreats, and he would do group hypnosis, which was absolutely incredible. It just shifted everything at the subconscious level, and he called it guided imagery. So I didn't recognise until many years later, when I became a hypnotherapist, that guided imagery is in fact just one technique of many that hypnotherapists use.
I saw a magician one time, I think his name was Matt Hollywood, and he hypnotised somebody on stage and they acted like a chicken.
Rick Collingwood?
Matt Hollywood.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant Rick Collingwood.
That's the only thing I know about hypnotherapy.
Okay, yes.
You get these stage shows,
yes.
and they all run around crazy, and they hypnotise people. But hypnosis is good for a lot of things: losing
yes.
weight, depression, anxiety, smoking. How do you help all those thousands of clients?
So that's correct. People only, when they hear about hypnotherapy, they think about the stage hypnotist and they think about quit smoking, because usually that's what people go to hypnotherapists for, is to quit smoking. And it's very effective with that as well. But people don't realise that for depression, for anxiety, for weight loss, that it's absolutely magnificent form of therapy, because it really goes to the subconscious mind, because that's where all our habits are kept, not at the conscious level.
Right.
So it's not, you know, with people, they know what to do in terms of weight loss. They know they need to eat less. They know they need to exercise more. It's not what you know, it's what you feel. It's what you automatically do. And so those changes need to happen at the subconscious level.
Helen, I'm just wondering, why are so many more people depressed these days? Maybe it's only me, because I've worked around the criminal justice system for, you know, almost 30 years. Maybe it's just the people I deal with. But I'm finding that, you know, so many people are suffering from depression and anxiety, and the pharmaceutical companies are cleaning up, you know.
Absolutely. It's an absolute epidemic.
Yeah.
And it's an epidemic in the Western world. Okay, so in the Western world, 15% of the population has severe depression.
15%.
And I believe it's because we operate in a society that's based on sickness and not wellness. And so what actually happens is, rather than reaching out to your neighbour or to your friends or to the community at large, like they tend to do in the underdeveloped nations, they go to their GP. The GP has had the pharmaceutical rep visit them earlier, which has outlined all the so-called benefits of, you know, antidepressants, and they are not obligated to tell the GP about the studies that show that they don't work. So they only show them the studies that show a positive outcome. And then the client comes in, the patient comes into the GP, and they want a quick fix. And so they're given a quick fix. Now, I'm not saying there's no place for antidepressants. So what the studies show is that for most people, they're no better than a placebo. But for a minority of people taking antidepressants, 5% of them, they can do some good. So I'm not saying there's no place. What I am saying is that they're massively overprescribed.
Okay, that makes sense. We might talk about antidepressants and how you make people happy after the next break, Helen, but lovely to have you on, and lovely to have you, my beautiful audience. We'll be back very shortly with Helen Mitas.